Just it's going to be.
Take this one. Please remain standing for the national anthem, which will be performed by Mrs. Denise McGeorge, a minister of the Tuckland Pentecostal Church.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were for the land of the free and the home of the
Please remain standing for the invocation to be delivered by Reverend Professor Ted Hagan, a minister of the Presbyterian Church.
Let us pray. Almighty and omniscient God, it is our great privilege to acknowledge your presence at this graduation of the class of 2025 from the Appalachian College of Pharmacy. We humbly ask that you bless this 18th graduating class as we celebrate their competence and their dedication to the common good. O God, you make wisdom out of knowledge, and experience and hope out of our clinical skills and empathetic care. You create the mind that we have in your own image and likeness. We acknowledge that your thoughts are infinitely higher and more profound than ours, and yet we aspire to your thoughts and your loving practice in what we do. Thank you for the precious gifts of knowledge and discovery. Bless each of these graduates, give them the grace to make the difference for the good as they become professional pharmacists in the years ahead. For those who will be going directly into professional practice, give them a sense of what is right and good and centered on the needs of their patients in a society that pays less and less attention to individuals, especially those with illness or disease. For those who will pursue further education, academic or experiential, grant not only the knowledge that they will need in their chosen specialization, but also the wisdom to apply that knowledge to the improvement of the lives of others. For those who have sought to enrich their initial professional education with the academic and practical commitment to public health, give them your blessing of knowledge and wisdom and hope for humankind. For each graduate and the families of which they are a part, we ask that they may make a significant contribution to the general health and welfare of society. And now, may you be pleased with our celebration here this day. May all we do recognize you as the good to which we aspire. For we pray to you with humble joy. Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. Welcome to the Appalachian College of Pharmacy, ACP. My name is Mickey McLaughlin, and it is my honor and privilege to serve the college as its president. I welcome each of you to our commencement program as we honor the class of 2025. We are pleased to be able to celebrate the significant accomplishments that have been achieved by the class of 2025. We're very proud of our College of Pharmacy. We are proud of our outstanding faculty, staff, students, and alumni. We're proud of our 1,074 graduates who are practicing pharmacists throughout the United States. Many of them are practicing in this region. However, most of all today, we are proud of the 45 members of the 2025 graduating class of ACP's Doctor of Pharmacy program and its first graduate of the Doctor of Public Health program. Most pharmacy schools in the United States have a 4-year program of pharmacy education. The Appalachian College of Pharmacy has a traditional program of pharmacy education which has been compacted into 3 years of student time rather than the usual 4 years. This allows the college's graduates to enter the workforce a year earlier and obtain an additional year of income. We call this ACP's $100,000 plus advantage. However, today, the average starting salary for a pharmacist in the United States is more than $132,000. So perhaps we should change this to state ACP's $132,000 plus advantage. The North American Pharmacy Licensure Examination, which is commonly known as the NAPLEX, is the test which all pharmacists are required to pass to be permitted to practice as pharmacists in the United States. More than 95% of the graduates of ACP have passed the NAPLEX and become licensed pharmacists. Past graduating classes of Appalachian College of Pharmacy have had the distinction of having the highest pass rate on the NAPLEX of any college of pharmacy in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and the second highest pass rate of all three-year colleges of pharmacy in the United States of America. I challenge the class of 2025 to meet or exceed the significant pass rates of past graduating classes, which I know they have the ability to do, and more importantly, I challenge each member of the class to be the best pharmacist that he or she can be, and to always seek first and foremost to serve the healthcare needs of their fellow man. Commencement marks the traditional end of an academic year. But for graduates of a professional degree program, the term commencement is more than traditionally appropriate. For the past 3 years, these men and women have been challenged to think like pharmacists, to communicate like pharmacists, and to advocate like pharmacists, and to observe the professional and ethical standards of pharmacists. They began that journey 3 years ago as pharmacy students, which initially meant little more than having been accepted, arranging to pay the tuition, and showing up for the first day of class. Now, at the end of that journey, hopefully they have become students of pharmacy for life, engaged in assisting and advancing the health and well-being of mankind. Recently, the college marked a significant milestone in its life, in that it became a member of a family or consortium of healthcare institutions with the Edward Via College of Osteopathic Medicine, which is better known as VCOM, under the parental guidance of the Harvey W. Peters Research Foundation. VCOM has medical colleges in Blacksburg, Virginia, Spartansburg, South Carolina, Auburn, Alabama, and Monroe, Louisiana. It is one of the largest suppliers of primary care physicians in the United States of America. We thank VCOM, the foundation, and their chairman of the board of trustees, Dr. John Rokovich, for their continuing significant support and assistance to the college. ACP is proud to be the pharmacy component in this family of healthcare institutions. It was through the encouragement of Dr. John Rokovich and VCOM that ACP founded its Doctor of Public Health program. Today, that program will graduate its first student. The Doctor of Public Health program is designed for public health leaders and practitioners. It focuses on practical skills and applications in public health which expand the frame of reference beyond the individual patient to the larger population while preparing the practitioner for leadership roles in policy, management, and practice. We are fortunate to have with us today as our graduation speaker one of Southwest Virginia's favorite sons, who is also one of the most successful business people in the history of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Randall R.J. Kirk, the executive chairman of Precigen, which is the former healthcare arm of Intrexon, and who has been a member of the board of trustees of VCOM since May 2015. Mr. Kirk is someone who has made it his life's work to improve the health of mankind. He will be more fully introduced in a few minutes. Many people have helped with the success of this College of Pharmacy. Pharmacists, physicians, and academics, elected officials, both local and regional, business and other community leaders, officials of sister institutions of higher education and other educators, rising second and third year pharmacy students, and interested and supportive local citizens. Thank you for your contributions to this college. As you might imagine, tremendous work goes into an event like graduation. I especially want to thank Provost and Dean Susan Mayhew, Holly Harmon, Jason McLaughlin, Karen Brown, Donnie Yates, Josh Sneed, Joe Sneed, Brandon Eastep, our staff, and the many others who are responsible for arranging all of the details necessary for this day of celebration. We are blessed with a very talented and hardworking staff. The Board of Trustees of the college is composed of dedicated volunteers who provide advice to the administration and serve as the policy-making body for the College of Pharmacy. Today, we are pleased to have with us Dr. Lou Ellsworth, who is the chairman of the college's Board of Trustees and who has served as a member of the board since the college's founding. Along with him, we are pleased to have with us several other members of the Board of Trustees. Would members of the Board of Trustees please stand and remain standing for a moment? Please stand if you would. You may be seated. I now ask the faculty to please stand. The faculty of any institution of higher education is its lifeblood. This is particularly and uniquely true for a professional school. Through the faculty, the benefits of a pharmacy education and the meaning of entering a profession are expressed and passed on from generation to generation. The faculty have provided a first-rate pharmacy education. ACP's faculty is dedicated to learning and teaching and devoted to mentoring students. Please join me in thanking this faculty. The faculty may be seated. In too short a time for us, the class of graduates of 2025 is prepared to leave ACP. Each of you have worked hard to attain the Doctor of Pharmacy degree or the Doctor of Public Health degree. Now, if you continue to work hard and continue to be students of pharmacy, you are well positioned to contribute meaningfully to your communities and to the professions that are pharmacy and public health. We're proud of your accomplishments here at ACP, and we will follow your professional progress with vested interest. I ask the degree candidates to please rise and turn to face the audience. Look around you. These are the parents, spouses, children, grandparents, aunts, uncles, and friends who have aided and encouraged you as you have worked hard to attain your education. To each of you who have supported our graduates, this standing ovation is for you from the class of 2025. Graduates, please be seated. At this time, Dean Susan Mayhew will introduce our student speaker.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to introduce our student speaker, Mr. Shobit Sood, who was selected by his peers to deliver the student address today. Shobit journeyed all the way across the country from Los Angeles, California, to relocate to our small community, Oakwood, Virginia, and to pursue his PharmD degree here at the Appalachian College of Pharmacy, ACP. Prior to attending ACP, Shobit completed a bachelor's degree in neuroscience from the University of California and continued educational pursuits in the healthcare fields that ultimately led him to ACP. While completing his final year, he enrolled in a Master's of Science program in Applied Health Economics and Outcomes Research with Thomas Jefferson University and is on track to complete that in 2026. Shobit has held leadership positions in several student organizations at ACP and has achieved numerous awards, such as the highest GPA, grade point average, Student Leadership Award, and most recently, the Dean's Award that recognizes a well-rounded and exemplary pharmacy student. Along his educational journey, Shobit also developed a passion for research. In collaboration with ACP faculty, he published 2 research papers as a student. He then set his sights on a highly competitive postdoctoral fellowship program with AstraZeneca, competing against physicians, PhDs, and other PharmD graduates. Shobit secured his top fellowship choice in global oncology market access and pricing with AstraZeneca. He will be based at AstraZeneca's headquarters in Gaithersburg, Maryland, and is looking forward to advancing patient access to the company's innovative oncology portfolio across global markets. With Shobit's academic prowess, winning personality, and can-do attitude, he is destined for a bright future. We look forward to following his career and future achievements. I present to you this brilliant young man, the student speaker for the class of 2025, Mr. Shobit Sood.
Thank you, Dean Mayhew, for the very kind introduction. Good morning, everyone. To our faculty, family, and friends, thank you for being here with us to share this moment. Today marks the end of a very long journey, one filled with exams, sleepless nights, soap notes, patient cases, and of course, coffee-fueled cramming sessions. But more importantly, today marks the celebration of everything we overcame together. Our class was never just a collection of individuals. We were a unit. When one of us struggled, someone always stepped up. When the work felt impossible, we shared the burden. Whether it was building study guides from scratch, organizing review sessions at the last minute, or simply offering a kind word when someone needed it most, we moved as one. That unity is what carried us through, and that unity is what makes this moment so powerful. As we now go our separate ways into residencies, fellowships, hospitals, community pharmacies, industry, or wherever life takes us, we must remember, pharmacy is a small world, and we will cross paths again. So let's keep that bond alive. Let's continue to be each other's mentors, advocates, and support systems, just as we were during these past 3 years. Let this degree remind us not only of what we achieved, but of how we achieved it, with grit, with grace, and with each other. Congratulations, class of 2025. We made it, and we did it together. Thank you.
Our commencement speaker today is Mr. Randall R.J. Kirk. Originally an attorney by training, he entered the biomedical field in 1983, co-founding Bastion, Virginia's General Injectables and Vaccines, GIV, which rapidly became the largest independent marketer and distributor of pharmaceutics and biologics to the U.S. office physician marketplace. This served as a springboard for Mr. Kirk's entry into pharmaceutical manufacturing and ultimately into research and development. Mr. Kirk is one of biotech's foremost individual investors, inventors, and executives, having brought a number of successful drugs to market through his leadership roles at King Pharmaceuticals, Sios, New River Pharmaceuticals, Clinical Data, and Halozyme. For over a decade, Mr. Kirk was the CEO of Intrexon, a company focused on advancing genetic and biological engineering to benefit the health and well-being of humans, animals, and the environment. In early 2020, he stepped down from his post with Intrexon to become the executive chairman of Precigen, the former healthcare arm of Intrexon. Precigen is dedicated to developing the next generation of gene and cell therapies, targeting the most urgent and intractable diseases in immuno-oncology, autoimmune disorders, and infectious diseases. Mr. Kirk also owns a controlling business interest in Okanagan Specialty Fruits, the grower of the groundbreaking Arctic apple, and Oxitec Ltd., the leading developer of biological solutions to control pests that transmit disease, destroy crops, and harm livestock. Mr. Kirk is a board member of the Edward Vive College of Osteopathic Medicine, VCOM, ACP's sister institution, and has sat on the Virginia Advisory Council on Revenue Estimates and also on the Governor's Economic Development and Job Creations Commission. He has also been on the Board of Visitors of both of his alma maters, for Radford University, where he received a bachelor's degree in business, and from the University of Virginia, where he received his Juris Doctorate. It is both an honor and a privilege to present to you our commencement speaker, Mr. R.J. Kirk.
Okay, great. Is it here? Well, congratulations. So, distinguished guests, trustees, faculty, graduates, family and friends of graduates, welcome. When President McLaughlin reached out to me to ask me about doing this, I was honored to accept immediately, because I guess based on what you just heard, I mean, when it comes to the field of hillbilly pharmaceutics, I've done pretty well at that, among the hillbillies, I mean, and among anybody in pharmaceutics. So that's really what I want to talk with you about today, is like how many options. What really inspires me about what you've done to this point in your career is I just wonder if you know how marginable, right, how leverageable, I should say, your present accomplishment in your education is, because the sky's the limit at this point. You know, we talk in terms of, oh, well, it's, what was it, 132,000, you know, average salary or something like that. Yeah, that's just to be a pharmacist. But this is a knowledge-based economy now. We're way past judging people based on, I mean, judging their economic value based on the amount of time they spend doing something. That's not how value is measured today. So the real question is, are you in a position to leverage your prior attainment into greater attainment in the future, given the way the world is working? And so what I want to suggest to you today is you're in an incredible position. And so my own story might be illustrative, because that first company that was just mentioned to you, General Injectables and Vaccines, I mean, think about it. In 1983, a pharmacist, a community pharmacist, and he was the sole practicing pharmacist in Bland County, Virginia, and I was the sole attorney. And we were friends. And we started this company, and this is right after Hatch-Waxman. So the first generic drugs had just, you know, this was the legislation that allowed generic drugs to even exist, right? And physician offices in those days obtained their pharmaceutics and biologics usually from the what was called in the trade a depot pharmacy. So the drug companies would kind of collude to decide which pharmacy in town they would lay off, the drugs that doctors would use in their own offices, right? And those are the guys who sometimes turned into, we called them med-surg distributors, so they would also sell wheelchairs and crutches and all that kind of jazz, right? So it was another line of income for pharmacists, and some of those turned into rather substantial businesses. But anyway, we had a really bold idea, which was, what if we could just, because injectables are mercifully small, right? I mean, because it wouldn't take a big warehouse to have like 4,000 SKUs, okay? So wonder if we could, using direct mail and telemarketing, market aggressively all the doctors' offices in the country and just underprice everybody and just do a great job and provide fantastic customer service. Oh, and another thing that was brand new then was FedEx, right? And we could, from tiny Bastion, Virginia, which, by the way, this is a major metropolis compared with Bland County, okay? We could do that all from Bland County via FedEx, and it was a crazy idea. We started work on this in 1983, and neither of us neither of us had any prior experience about how to do any of this. But my partner was a pharmacist, so he did know the drugs, right? And he was able to figure out, and he knew how to look something up in the United States Pharmacopoeia, and the PDR. So that helped a lot. And so we began calling people, wholesalers, regulators, what would it take, like what do we want to do this, et cetera, manufacturers, would you sell to us, at what price, what volumes, et cetera, and we drove people so nuts. I cannot tell you how many people hung up on us. There was one guy in particular, my partner and I remembered him for years later, because he told us, listen, you've taken up all the time I'm going to give you. Come back, call me up sometime when you learn something about this industry. Okay, forget it. Within a year, that guy applied to us for a job. And we became huge. We became so large that we bought, when SmithKline was merging with Beecham, and they decided to consolidate into what was called the Yellow Mother, which is SmithKline's facility in Philadelphia. That put the facility in Bristol, Tennessee on the market, Beecham's U.S. headquarters, and we bought it out of working capital from our distributor. So that put us in manufacturing, right? Now, what did we know about, I want to back up to the distributor just for 1 second, because what I'm trying to illustrate for you is you have a leverageable skill set now. And the fact that you know as much as you do now means all you need now is the correct attitude, an attitude that tells you that anything else you can figure out. My point is, nobody taught us how to do this. You know what I mean? There are no courses in make the country's first overnight, service to physicians for any biologic or pharmaceutic they may wish to acquire. But we could figure it out, and we did. So similarly, when we got into pharmaceutical manufacturing, we had a lot to figure out because neither of us knew anything about it. And that little company is now part of Pfizer. Okay? And then a few years after that, a mad scientist walked into my office, and he wanted to show me, using molecular models, he wanted to show me that he had figured out how to make thyroid hormone be protected chemically from going subpotent, because this is something that happens all the time. If those of you who do go into community pharmacy, you will notice this. You'll have lots of recalls, and this stuff goes subpotent. And the reason is it's inherently unstable. So iodinated thyronine, right, of any type, T2, T3, T4, it's going to pop off iodines all the time. And when it does that, then it doesn't work. As you know, T3 is the active hormone. T4 is just really a prodrug of that hormone. T2 is inactive. So this guy showed that you could stabilize it. And his idea, I won't go into the molecular biology here. Some of you may not be up for that. I know they're fascinated by it, but we can talk later. So anyway, I in-licensed that technology and hired some scientists, hired my first scientists who were actually involved in R&D. They did a pretty good job, but there were no significant results. Now, I'll fast forward. Later on, we learned that if we had continued those experiments forever, we would never have succeeded. In other words, we eventually understood this particular branch of physical chemistry that we had invented would never have allowed that to occur. But along the way, we shifted targets. We did learn a lot of physical chemistry, and we shifted targets, and we wondered, could we make a dextroamphetamine that is incapable of being abused, right? And would have a longer half-life than Adderall XR, but do the sustained release all in the molecule itself. So in other words, clearly what you're talking about here is a prodrug to dextroamphetamine, right? That would hydrolyze on transport across the lumen, right? Would that be possible? And the answer is Vyvanse, yes, it was possible. And so, to this day, I mean, I love being in public and meeting young people, and because I can just guess, like 3 out of 8 of them have been on a drug that was my idea. It's pretty cool. So, I guess in terms of exhortation and inspiration, I guess that's about the best I can do for you guys. I'm not saying you all need to be drug developers or anything like that. All I'm really trying to do is tell you is, based on the skill set and the knowledge that you have today and your qualifications, right? All you need to do from now on is figure it out. Be confident that you can figure stuff out, and you'll be fine. Okay? Now, just a little bit of personal advice. As I'm an old guy and you're also young, I wanted to think about, is there anything I can tell you that you might actually make today's little chat worth your while? And I can think of one thing that I think applies to all of us at this age. As you get older, you don't know this yet, but as you get older, making friendships is harder to do. It gets harder every year. There's a reason for that. Do you want to know the reason? The reason for that is that there is a cure for your insecurity. All the insecurity that we were there, so don't kid me. Every one of you is feeling anxious and insecure. That's in your age group, okay? There's a cure for it, and it happens to all of us. That cure is selfishness. As we age, we simply become more selfish. That's why we can seem so more confident. But my point is, it makes it very difficult to make new friends. The more selfish you are, the harder that is. So my advice, protect your friendships. Invest in them. Congratulations.
Thank you for those inspiring words and a lifetime of service to the healthcare needs of mankind. At this time, I will call on Assistant Dean Wade McGeorge to present or call the candidates for graduation.
Good morning. I would like to ask the first row of PharmD candidates for the class of 2025 to please stand. And if you will begin to make your way to the platform. When the last candidates from this row cross the stage, we will ask the next row to make their way to the stage. Bazem, Eid, El Sayed, Ali, Abdelhamid. Sarah Lene Adkins Roberts. Rachel Ellen Adkins Wright. Henrietta Anor. Sartaz Mamoon Araf. Jamie Celeste Blankenship. Nubia Magnus Bochuco. Jenna Renee Bowling. Danielle McClay Brizendine. Dawson Charles Browning. Abigail Paige Burke. Hannah Faith Casey. Paxton Alexandra Casey. Savannah Jade Cervinka. Barbara Ann Click. Megan Leanne Combs. Caitlin Louise Cook. As much as Caitlin wanted to be here today, unfortunately she is unable to be here. We hope she's watching. Caleb Seth Coots. Caleb Matthew Damron. Mahmoud Mohammed Ahmed El Hagali. Shiva Fahami. Albors Justin Fatheden. Ahmed Isam Anwar Hassan. Michaela Therese Hutchison. Emily Madison Lester. Abdullah Al-Mamoon. Larry Blake Marshall. Abanob Gamal Habib Mazri. Brianna Lee Maxfield. Elizabeth Ann Mischel. Alicia Gabrielle Morgan. Erin Nicole Morgan. Sierra Jewel Newberry. Shaquille O'Neal. Abu Kunolua Opanuga. Mona Ghanshambai Patel. Olivia Ann Harris Phillips. Tyler Sargent. Stephanie Lynn Sloan. Shobit Sood. Mandy Renee Stiltner. Juveria Fatima Sayeda. Pushtabin Shiv Kumar Vijaya Kumar. Spencer Elliott Wireman.
I'm Jim Florence, and I'm Dean of the Department of Public Health. It gives me great pleasure and honor to present to you our very first Doctor of Public Health candidates. President McLaughlin, upon the completion of requirements for this degree, this candidate will have earned the degree Doctorate of Public Health. Upon the recommendation of our faculty and the approval, I present her to you for the conferring of this degree.
Thank you. The candidate will come forward for footing.
Jennifer Lyndon Hammonds.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees and with the approval of the faculty, I confer upon the candidate for the degree of Doctor of Public Health upon the completion of the requirements with all the rights privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto, the degree of Doctor of Public Health. Provost and Dean Mayhew.
The pharmacy candidates for degree will now stand, please. President McLaughlin, upon the completion of the program's requirements, these candidates will have earned the degree of Doctor of Pharmacy. Upon the recommendation and approval of the faculty, I present them to you for conferral of that degree.
Thank you. By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees and with the approval of the faculty, I confer upon each of you the degree of Doctor of Pharmacy upon the completion of the requirements with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities appertaining thereto. Congratulations.
All right, pharmacy graduates, please remain standing for the oath of the pharmacist. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I promise to devote myself to a lifetime of service to others through the profession of pharmacy. In fulfilling this vow, I will consider the welfare of humanity and relief of suffering my primary concerns. I will treat all patients with dignity and respect and will not discriminate against any patient. I will apply my knowledge, experience, and skills to the best of my ability to assure optimal outcomes for all patients. I will respect and protect all personal and health information entrusted to me. I will accept the responsibility to improve my professional knowledge, expertise, and self-awareness. I will hold myself and my colleagues to the highest principles of our profession's moral, ethical, and legal conduct. I will embrace and advocate changes that improve patient care. I will utilize my knowledge, skills, experiences, and values to prepare the next generation of pharmacists. I take these vows voluntarily with the full realization of the responsibility with which I am entrusted by the public. Congratulations and welcome to the profession of pharmacy.
You may be seated. I congratulate each of our graduates and their families. It is my hope that each of you will apply yourselves and make valuable contributions to your profession and mankind, and that you will return often to your alma mater, Appalachian College of Pharmacy, ACP. Who are we? Remember the quote from Dr. Seuss, "Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened." After the benediction, there will be a recessional of the members of the graduating party. Please remain standing during the recessional. After that, the graduation exercises will be concluded. A reception will then be held in the large tent between this building and McLaughlin Hall. Everyone here is invited to the reception. I hope that each of you can attend. I now ask Reverend Professor Ted Hagan to deliver our benediction.
Everyone, please stand as you are able. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance unto you and give you shalom, salem, irene, pax, paz, peace. Amen.
Please remain standing for the